The lights in bunk room 12 were dim, flickering like always. The air smelled of burnt wires and old metal. Tyson, the human janitor, walked in with his cleaning bag. It was late, almost zero shift, when most workers were sleeping or gone. He liked these hours quiet, peaceful, no one around to ask questions. He moved slowly between the empty bunks. Picking up stray wrappers and tools, a small piece of metal poked his boot. He kicked it aside, then something caught his eye. It was sticking halfway out from under one of the lower bunks, dark and leather-bound. He knelt down, reached for it, and pulled it free. It was a book, an actual paper book, rare and illegal on most stations. People use tablets now, or mind keys. But this was old, strange, and had no name on the cover. Tyson sat on the floor, flipping through the pages. Most of the writing looked like alien script, flowing and sharp. But then, halfway through, something strange happened. The page changed right. Before his eyes morphing into English, he blinked and stared. I hate my eyes. They glow in the dark. They scare everyone. I hate my skin. It marks me as a servant before I speak. I hate my voice, soft and wrong. Like I was made to be silent, Tyson's heart thumped harder. This wasn't a book. It was a diary, a private one, filled with pain. The handwriting changed sometimes. Messy and rushed, other times neat and careful, like the writer had been crying but trying to look calm. He turned another page. They think I don't understand. Galactic Standard. But I do. I hear what they say when I pass by. Pet, helper, worker girl. Like I'm not even real. Tyson looked around. The room was still empty. His fingers gripped the diary tighter. Then he read a line that stopped his breath. If I could have one thing, just one, I would want to see the stars. Not through glass, not on a screen, but with my own eyes, under real air, just once. I want to feel free. The words hit deep. They weren't just sad. They were real, raw. Human in a way that had nothing to do with species. He flipped to the back of the diary. The last page had a small drawing. A girl standing on a hill under stars, her arms wide, her face lifted. Beside her was a tall figure. Also faceless, but clearly human. I wish someone would see me. Not what I am, not what I was made to be. Just see me. Tyson closed the book slowly. His throat felt dry, his chest tight. He had no idea who she was, but now he had to find her. He stood up, holding the diary close, then froze. There was a sound at the door, soft footsteps, quick and careful. A shadow passed outside the bunk room window, slender, moving fast, then gone. He didn't know if it was her, but something inside him whispered, yes. Tyson looked at the drawing again. Then at the door, his life had always been simple. Clean this, fix that, stay quiet, stay invisible. But tonight, everything changed. By accident, he had found her voice. Now he couldn't pretend he hadn't heard it. Now he couldn't walk away. The stars outside the station shimmered, silent and far. But Tyson knew somewhere close, on this same station, a girl was dreaming of them, and maybe, just maybe, he could make that dream come true. Tyson couldn't sleep. The diary sat under his pillow, calling to him like a voice in the dark. Every page, every word, stayed in his head. He had read it twice, maybe 3 times, but one thought kept coming back. Who was she? There were hundreds of workers on the station. Aliens from all kinds of planets. Some were tall, some had scales, some had fur or feathers. But only one type matched the descriptions in the diary: quiet, slim, glowing eyes. He remembered seeing one of them in the mess hall. She always sat alone, never spoke to anyone. Her skin shimmered faintly, soft blue with hints of silver. And her eyes, those quiet, glowing eyes, looked like they had seen too much. Tyson waited until the next shift. Rotation. Then he entered the mess hall and sat in a far corner. He watched as workers came and went, but then she walked in slow, careful. Holding a food tray like it might fall apart, she sat at the very edge, near the waste chute, far from the lights. Her movements were gentle, almost invisible, but there. It was the soft hum. She was humming, just like the song written in the diary's margins. His heart skipped. It was her. It had to be. He stood slowly, unsure. What would he even say? "Hi, I read your secret thoughts." No, that would scare her. Instead, he picked up an extra meal tray and walked toward her. Each step felt heavy, like gravity had doubled. When he reached her table, she didn't look up. Her eyes stayed low, her hands quiet. He cleared his throat. "Mind if I sit here?" She blinked, surprised, then gave a tiny nod. He sat, pretending to eat, stealing glances. She looked just like the sketch in the diary. Same long fingers, same shy posture. He waited. Then spoke again. "My name's Tyson." He said softly, "I work in maintenance." She nodded again. "I'm Lyrian," she whispered, her voice soft like wind through wires. Tyson smiled gently. "That's a beautiful name." She looked at him finally, surprised. No one ever said things like that to her. "Thank you," she said, almost too quiet too. Here, they sat in silence, but it wasn't heavy. It was the kind of silence that held space. Like two people standing at the edge of something important. Then Tyson did something bold. He reached into his jacket and pulled out the diary. He placed it on the table between them. Lyrian froze, her eyes locked onto it, wide with shock and fear. She reached for it slowly, then stopped. Where did you get this?" she asked, her voice shaking. "I found it under a bunk," Tyson said honestly. "I didn't mean to read it, but when the words turned into English, I couldn't stop." Lyrian pulled her hand back, her face turned red-purple. "The color? Of shame on her kind. I didn't think anyone would ever find it," she whispered. "It was just my thoughts. Just me." "I know," Tyson said gently, "and I'm sorry." She looked down, eyes burning. "I shouldn't have written it," she said. "I shouldn't want those things." Tyson leaned forward. Voice low, but firm. "No," he said. You should want more." She looked at him, tears clinging to her lashes. "No one ever said that to me." "Well, I'm saying it now," he replied. "I see you, Lyrian." She covered her mouth, trembling. He had said the exact words from the last page of the diary. Her secret wish, now spoken aloud. "I'm just a maintenance worker." Tyson said, "But I want to help. I want to make that dream of yours real, if I can." She stared at him like he was made of stars. For the first time, someone didn't see her as a worker or a thing. He saw her as a person. "You really mean it?" she asked, voice cracking. He nodded. "Yes." Lyrian held the diary close to her chest. "Like it was her heart," she whispered. "I don't know what to do now." Tyson smiled. "Then let's figure it out together." Around them, the mess hall kept buzzing, but at that small table, something new had started. Not romance, not yet, but something just as strong. Trust, and trust was the first step toward freedom. Lyrian didn't show up the next day, not in the mess hall, not in the work halls, not even in the shadows where she used to stand. Tyson waited, watching every corner, pretending to clean while his eyes searched, but she was gone. He carried the empty food tray back to his bunk, the same tray he had planned to share with her. The diary lay in his locker now, hidden behind old tools and extra gloves. He didn't open it again, not without her permission. By the third day, he started asking questions, careful ones, subtle. "Hey, have you seen that quiet girl, the one with silver skin and glowing eyes?" Most workers just shrugged. Some didn't even remember her name. It was like she had vanished, like a ghost had passed through and faded. Then, during shift cleanup in the hydro room, he heard something, soft footsteps behind the tank columns. He followed, silent and careful. and there she was, curled up behind a large pipe, knees to chest, arms wrapped around her diary. "Lyrian," he whispered. She flinched, then looked up, her eyes wide with fear and something else, shame. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "They're watching me now." Tyson crouched beside her. "Why?" "Because of you," she said, but her voice wasn't angry, it was trembling. "They saw us talking. I wasn't supposed to sit with you. I'm not allowed to make friends outside my class." Tyson's fists clenched. "Your class?" She nodded. "Station hierarchy," she whispered. "I'm class 6 technical labor. No rights to leisure interaction if they think I'm trying to change that." "I get reassigned," he asked, heart sinking. "Worse shift, more dangerous job," she said softly, "or sent back to my home world." Tyson took a breath, slow and heavy. "This isn't right. It doesn't matter," she said, hugging the diary tighter. "It's just how things are." He looked at her, sitting on the cold floor like trash, but she wasn't trash. She was thoughtful, kind, and filled with quiet strength, and she was breaking inside. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he said. I read your words, and I couldn't stop thinking about you." "I didn't want you to see me like that," she whispered, weak, sad. "You're not weak," he said quickly. "You're strong for surviving all this." She didn't answer. "Just look down." He reached into his jacket and pulled out something small. A wrapped protein bar, real chocolate, rare on the station. She blinked at it. "For me?" He nodded. She took it slowly, hands shaking, then unwrapped it like it was treasure. Her first bite was small, but her eyes widened, and a tiny smile touched her lips. "It's sweet," she said. Like it was the first sweet thing she had ever tasted. Tyson smiled. "There's more where that came from. If you ever want." Lyrian looked at him, serious now. "Why are you doing this?" He thought for a moment, then said, "Because someone once helped me when I had nothing. And because you deserve more than silence and shadows." She stared at him for a long time, then slowly opened the diary. She flipped past many pages, then stopped and turned it toward him, a sketch. Rough and full of emotion, it showed her standing alone with stars above her. But this time, the human figure beside her had a face, his face. "You were in my dream," she said quietly. "Before I ever met you." Tyson didn't know what to say, so he just looked at the drawing and nodded. "I want to believe things can change," she whispered. "But I'm afraid." "I'm afraid too," he admitted. "But maybe we can be less afraid together." She nodded slowly. Then her eyes turned sharp. "You can't tell anyone what's in the diary." "I won't," he promised. "Never, if they find out." "They'll use it against me," she said. "They'll say I'm planning rebellion or breaking class protocol." "It's your voice," he said, "and I'll protect it." The hydro room was quiet, only the soft sound of water dripping from the pipes, but between them, something had shifted. Not just trust, now something deeper, something fragile, but strong. Lyrian stood, slowly, carefully. "I have to go before anyone sees," she whispered. "But I'll meet you tomorrow, same time, mess hall corner." Tyson nodded. She turned to leave, then stopped, and for the first time, she smiled just a little, but real. Then she was gone, but her smile stayed with him. And so did her secret. The mess hall buzzed with the usual sound, strays clattering, machines humming, workers talking too loud to hear their own thoughts. But in the far left corner, under the dim light that flickered every few seconds, Tyson waited. He kept his head low, his shoulders relaxed, trying to look like any other tired janitor grabbing a late meal, but his eyes watched the entrance. Then she appeared. Lyrian walked in slowly, carefully, like a shadow testing the light. She wore the same gray uniform all Class 6 workers wore. But something in her steps had changed, lighter, more aware. She spotted Tyson. and without a word, sat down across from him. "You made it," he said softly, offering a quiet smile. "I almost didn't," she replied, her voice low. "They moved my shift forward, made it harder to get away." He frowned. "They did that because of me?" Lyrian nodded. "They're watching now. They know I'm different lately." Tyson leaned closer, voice steady. "Then let's give them something to really worry about." She blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" He opened his pocket and slid a small hologram chip across the table. She picked it up, tapped it, and a glowing image appeared between them. It showed a map one of the outer station service gates. "I checked the schedule," he whispered. "This gate isn't guarded during night cycle, and the camera system is down 4. Maintenance." Lyrian's eyes widened. "Tyson, what are you planning?" He smiled. "I want to show you the stars." Her lips parted, stunned. "You read that part?" she whispered. "You read my wish." "I did," he said, "and it broke my heart." She looked down, voice soft. "It's a stupid dream?" "No," he said firmly. "It's the most beautiful dream I've ever heard." No one had ever said that to her for her whole life. Even small dreams had been denied. She wasn't allowed to leave work zones, wasn't allowed to speak without permission, and wanting to see the stars, really see them, was laughed at, punished, buried deep inside. She said slowly, "If we're caught, they'll send me off station." "Then we won't get caught," he replied. "I've memorized the maintenance path. There's a cargo elevator that leads straight to the surface dome." She shook her head. "I don't want you to get hurt." "Because of me, I don't care," he said. "Your dream matters." Silence sat between them again. But it was warm, like something sacred had just been shared. "I used to look at the stars through the glass," she whispered, "but it always felt like I was locked in a cage, watching something I'd never touch." Tyson reached forward, his fingers gently brushing hers. "Then let's open the cage." Later that night, they met near the supply tunnel. Tyson had stolen 2 work suits with oxygen masks, not the best, but enough to last a few minutes on the outer surface. Lyrian looked nervous, her hands trembling. But she followed him without a word. The tunnel was long, dark, and cold. Lights flickered above them as they moved through the narrow metal path. Steam hissed from pipes, and the air smelled like rust and old dust. At the end of the tunnel, a sealed hatch waited. Tyson keyed in the override code. The door unlocked, with a slow hiss, revealing the lift that would take them up. "Ready?" he asked. Lyrian nodded slowly. "I've never been outside before," she whispered. He smiled behind his mask. "Then let's make it a good first time." The lift rose slowly, metal groaning when it stopped. The hatch opened, and there it was, the open dome, the wide sky above. No glass, no screen, no wall. Just a thin energy field keeping the air in. Lyrian stepped forward like she was stepping into a dream. Stars filled the blackness above, millions of them. Bright, endless. "Beautiful," she gasped, her eyes wide. Her hands reached upward, as if trying to hold the stars themselves. "It's more than I imagined," she whispered. "So much more." Tyson stood beside her, silent, letting her soak in every second. He watched her face, glowing in the starlight. Tears streamed down her cheeks, floating gently in zero gravity. "I used to draw this," she said, over and over. "But I never thought it would be real." "You made it real," he said. "You held on to the dream. Even when no one else did." She turned to him, her voice trembling. "Thank you, Tyson." But before he could answer, a loud beep echoed from his wristband. His eyes went wide. "Security scan?" he whispered. They found the lift was used. Lyrian grabbed his hand. "We have to go." But Tyson didn't move. He looked at her one last time, smiled. It was worth it. The sirens didn't sound like screams. They sounded like betrayal, sharp and cold. Echoing through the quiet of the dome, Tyson pulled Lyrian close. Her hand was shaking in his. "They're coming," she whispered, voice barely heard over the rising alarm. Tyson nodded, pulling her toward the exit door. But it was too late. A spotlight blasted down from above. Mechanical voices crackled through hidden speakers. "Unauthorized presence detected in Zone 9. Prepare for security. Intervention." Lyrian froze. Her knees weakened. She whispered, "They'll separate us." Tyson turned, eyes fierce. "Then we don't let them." He reached for the hatch override, but the panel locked. Red light flashing access denied the system. Had already taken control. Heavy boots clanked behind them. Security bot stall. Armored, cold, they moved fast, surrounding the dome like wolves circling prey. Tyson stepped in front of her. Arms wide, "Don't touch her," he shouted. She didn't do anything wrong. One of the bots raised its arm. "You have violated regulation for 4B. Class 6 personnel are not permitted on external platforms." She just wanted to see the stars. Tyson growled. "One night that's all." The bot didn't care. It never cared. Cold arms grabbed him from behind. Metal fingers digging into his arms. Lyrian screamed as two bots dragged her back. "Tyson!" she cried, reaching for him. "I'm here." He shouted, "Don't stop looking at the stars, Lyrian." Tears streamed down her cheeks. Her glowing eyes filled with fear and something worse, loss. They pulled her away. The night sky stayed above her, bright and endless. But the warmth was gone. Hours later, Tyson sat in a cold cell. The walls were gray, the light too bright. His wrists were sore, bruised from the metal cuffs. He didn't regret it. Not 1 second. He had seen her smile under real stars. He had given her that one moment. And that made everything worth it. Footsteps echoed. The door slid open. A man in a gray uniform stepped in. Security Chief Varicumen, but with eyes that had long lost their kindness. "You broke protocol," Varric said. Arms crossed. "You accessed a restricted zone, tampered with security logs, and smuggled a Class 6 into unauthorized territory." Tyson said nothing. Varric stepped closer. "Why?" Tyson looked up. "Because she's not a number. She's not a class. She's a person." Varric smirked. "That kind of talk gets people transferred." "Do it," Tyson said. "Transfer me. Fire me. Lock me up won't change what you saw." Varric leaned in. "You're lucky I'm not filing this as sabotage." Tyson met his eyes. "Then do it. But make sure the report says she saw the stars. Write that down." Varric stared at him for a moment, then turned. "Keep dreaming." "Janitor," he muttered as he left. Lyrian sat alone in the storage chamber. They had reassigned her immediately. She was no longer in the mess hall or cleaning units. Now she sorted trash behind recycling bays. No one spoke to her. She wasn't allowed to leave her zone, but they couldn't take the memory. That moment under the stars lived inside her now. She opened her diary. The pages were wrinkled, a little wet. She turned to the last page, the one she had drawn before she ever met Tyson. She took out her pen and added something new. The human beside her in the drawing now had his arm outstretched, his face turned toward hers, smiling in the starlight. She wrote, "He gave me the sky. Now I will find a way to give him everything." Footsteps echoed nearby. She quickly closed the diary, hiding it in a cracked vent behind her. No one could ever know it still existed. Tyson sat on the hard floor of his cell. Days passed with no answers. No contact, but one morning, the door slid open. Again. A low-ranking officer walked in. "Someone sent you this," he said, tossing a sealed cloth toward him. Tyson opened it slowly. Inside was a folded note. Handwritten alien script mixed with English letters. "You gave me one night, I'll never forget. I will find a way to give it back. Don't lose hope." At the bottom, one small drawing, a star, and beside it, a pair of glowing eyes, smiling. Tyson closed his eyes. He smiled too. Even if he never saw her again, even if this was the end, he had changed something. And somewhere out there, she was holding on to the memory, that first night sky, that first moment of being truly seen. And dreams like that don't die. They grow, they rise, they shine. Tyson didn't know how many days had passed. The light in the cell never changed. No windows, no time. Just the same gray walls and buzzing air vent above his head. They had taken his ID chip, his tools, even his nameplate. Now he was just a numbering mate 4 to 7B. He spent most of his time staring at the ceiling, thinking about her Lyrian's glowing eyes, her trembling voice, her first laugh under the stars. That one moment had been perfect, and now it was gone. His meals came in through a slot in the wall, cold, tasteless. No one spoke to him. He didn't know what they were planning. But deep down, he knew the system didn't forget, and it didn't forgive. Lyrian counted the days on the inside flap of her work boot, a scratch for each shift. 16 now. 16 shifts since she last saw Tyson. No one mentioned his name. She asked once. The supervisor barked. Class 6 South, don't ask questions, so she stopped speaking. But her silence wasn't weakness this time. It was focus. She listened, watched, learned. Every hallway, every camera blind spot, every quiet worker who looked away instead of reporting her. She started whispering to the others, those like her. The forgotten ones. She told them what the stars looked like, what it felt like to breathe under open air. Some called her a fool, but some started listening. One of them, an old engineer named Kren, used to be class 3 before demotion. He gave her something, a copy of a terminal key card. Won't get you far, he warned, but it opens the maintenance wings. It was enough. Tyson woke to the sound of hissing steam. The door opened, not with guards, but a woman in a dark blue coat. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. I'm Officer Juna, Internal Affairs, she said. You've been held for unauthorized station access and endangerment of Class 6 property. Property, Tyson muttered, jaw clenched. She's not a thing. Yuna didn't argue. She simply sat across from him, holding a black tablet. You're lucky, she said. The cameras inside the dome were malfunctioning. No official footage of the incident. Tyson raised an eyebrow. That sounds convenient. Some glitches aren't worth fixing, she replied. Let's say certain people higher up don't want attention drawn to how badly this station treats its workers. So you're here to let me go? He asked. Hopeful Yuna shook her head. I'm here to offer a deal. Tyson crossed his arms. Go on. We send you off station, she said. Early retirement package, quiet transport, never come back. And Lyrian? He asked, voice tight. She stays, Yuna replied. You disappear. She keeps her job. Nothing more happens. Tyson stared at the wall. A long silence stretched. Do I get to say goodbye? He asked. No, she said, standing. That's the deal. That same night, Lyrian stood outside the old service lift. She wore a stolen jacket over her uniform. Inside her boot, the copied keycard behind her. For others, followed quiet, scared, but willing. She slid the card through the panel. A beep. Then the door opened. They hurried inside. The old elevator groaned as it rose. Lyrian's heart pounded. This was madness. She knew, but Tyson had risked everything for her dream. Now it was her turn. Tyson sat on the edge of the landing pad, a small bag by his feet. A transport shuttle waited. He watched the engines warm up, glowing orange in the cold blue of station night. Tyson. A voice whispered. He turned. Eyes wide, Lyrian stood in the shadow of the wall, breath visible in the chilled air. How I had help, she whispered. She stepped forward, eyes fierce. You can't leave. She said, not like this. They'll hurt you. he warned. If they see you, they already heard me, she said, voice shaking. But I won't live quiet anymore. She held something out, his old ID chip. I stole it from the evidence locker, she said. You're not gone yet. He laughed softly. You're incredible. You gave me the stars, she said. Now I'm giving you back your name. Footsteps echoed behind them. The others from her group stepped out, Kren and 3 others with tools and scanners. Tyson looked at them, surprised. This is bigger than just us, Lyrian said. We're not hiding anymore. A voice shouted from the tower. Hey, stop right there. Lyrian grabbed his hand. We run now, she said. We fight later. Tyson nodded. And together, they ran. The price of a single wish had been high. Time, pain, silence, fear. But it had lit something even stronger. Hope. And once hope starts to move, nothing can stop it. 3 weeks passed. 3 long, dangerous weeks. The station patrols doubled. Curfews grew tighter. And every Class 6 worker was questioned. But the names of those involved in the escape were never found. Not because they were missing, but because no one gave them up. Tyson and Lyrian had vanished. They lived below the station inside forgotten tunnels. Old oxygen farms, dusty cargo vaults. Places the security systems didn't care about anymore. There, a hidden group began to grow. Workers tired of silence. Aliens tired of shame. And one human janitor with a stolen ID and a dream bigger than. Fear. Lyrian sat beside an old light core, sketching in her diary. The pages were dirty now. Worn from use, but still whole. She flipped through the drawings, her younger self behind glass, her hands reaching out. Then the dome, the stars, the lift, the guards, then Tyson. Standing in front of her, protecting her like a wall of warmth. She turned to the last page and began writing slow, careful strokes. Not in alien script this time, but in English. She wanted humans to read this someday too. He didn't ask me to change. He didn't try to fix me. He saw me and he stayed when everyone else turned. Away, he leaned closer. He showed me the stars. And now I see myself in them. She closed the diary and held it close. Outside, she heard footsteps, soft, steady, familiar. Tyson. She whispered before he even appeared. He walked in, his jacket covered in dust, a tired smile on his face. Another tunnel cleared, he said. We'll have power lines running through the old water pipes next. We're building something real, she said. Standing up, he nodded. We're not hiding anymore. The group had grown to almost 30 now workers from 6 species. They met in the dark, planned quietly, not to attack, not to burn, but to build a place where class numbers didn't exist, where one's skin didn't decide their worth. And it started with 2 people who refused to walk away. But the station above wasn't silent forever. One night, an announcement blared. Across every hallway, Station Command will hold a public inquiry in Central Bay. All citizens above Class 4 are invited. Rumors of rebellion will be addressed. Lyrian and Tyson listened from the vents above. The message was clear. They were looking for someone to blame, someone to silence. Maybe it's Tyson said quietly. To step out of the shadows. Lyrian's heart raced. You mean, tell them the truth? Yes, he said. All of it. They won't listen. She whispered, they never do. Then we speak loud enough that they can't ignore us. The next day, they came forward, not alone. 30 workers walked into the Central Bay with them silent. Steady, proud gasps filled the room. Guards moved fast, weapons raised. But Officer Juna stepped forward, lifting a hand. Let them speak. She ordered. Lyrian stepped up to the platform. Her hands shook, but her voice didn't. I was labeled Class 6 from birth. She said, I worked. I stayed silent. I obeyed. She looked around, but inside, I had dreams. Small ones. Ones no one cared about. Her voice cracked. I only wanted to see the stars. The room was silent. No one laughed. No one moved. Tyson stepped beside her. I broke rules to help her, he said. And I'd do it again. Officer Juna narrowed her eyes. You risked your life for one moment? Tyson nodded. For her moment, Yuna was quiet for a long time. Then she looked at the guards. Lower your weapons. The weapons dropped. Weeks passed. Investigations began. Command was forced to review treatment logs, worker conditions, class rankings, and change slow, painful, but real began to stir. It started with new rest hours for all workers. Then safe walking access to the station's observation deck. Then, one day, they removed the class numbers entirely from uniforms. Tyson and Lyrian stood together under the stars again, this time without stolen suits or alarms or fear. Around them, others stood 2 former Class 6 workers, children, humans, aliens. All looking up together. This is what freedom feels like, Lyrian said. Tyson smiled, and it started with a diary. She looked at him, eyes glowing softly. No, she whispered. It started with you, opening it. He pulled something from his jacket, her diary, but now its cover was smooth, clean. Wrapped in new leather, on the front, in both English and alien script, it read, her last. Page was about him. He handed it to her. I thought maybe others should read it too. Lyrian's eyes filled with tears. She nodded. Then let's share it. The stars above sparkled quietly, and below them, something brighter was being born. A future where no one's dreams were too small, and no one's voice was left unread.